Thank you. I'd like to recognize Tracy Vandenberg, who will call the roll.
Chairman Kevin Holloway,
Present.
Trustee David Alexander, Trustee Roderick Allison,
Present.
Trustee William Bell, Trustee Keith Chadwell,
Present.
Trustee Emily Dickens, Trustee Lisa Martinez,
Present.
Trustee James Mitchell, Trustee Cornell Slade,
Present.
Trustee Antoine Thornton,
Present.
Trustee Alexandria Valadares, Trustee James Walker. We have quorum.
Thank you. As Chair of the Board of Trustees, it is my responsibility to remind all members of the board of their duty under the State Government Ethics Act to avoid conflicts of interest and appearances of conflict of interest as required by this act. Each member has received the agenda and related information for this Board of Trustees meeting. If any board member knows of any conflict of interest or appearance of conflict with respect to any matter coming before the Board of Trustees at this meeting, the conflict or appearance of conflict should be identified at this time. Hearing none, I seek a motion that the NCCU Board of Trustees adopt the agenda.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor? Aye. Opposes? Hearing none, so moved. I seek a motion that the NCCU Board of Trustees approve items on the consent agenda. Minutes of Committee on Academic and Student Affairs, April 23rd, 2024. Minutes, open date, April 24th, 2024. Minutes of Special Call Meeting, May 23rd, 2024. Minutes of Special Call Meeting, June 21, 2024. Action items, faculty overload policy. Action item, new investment strategy from exponents. Action item, internal audit charter. Action item, audit committee charter. And action item, annual audit plan for forecast year 25.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposes? Hearing none, so moved. I also seek a motion that the NCCU Board of Trustees approve items on the consent agenda. Action item, board faculty appeal decision.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We'll now move into committee reports. I'd like to recognize Vice Chairman Allison for report of Committee on Academic and Student Affairs.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman Holloway and members of the Board of Trustees, during yesterday's meeting, the Committee on Academic and Student Affairs received updates from Provost David Jackson and Vice Chancellor Dr. Angela Coleman. Provost Jackson reported the following: Spring 2024 commencement update. The university awarded 982 degrees at the spring 2024 commencement exercises, including 2 doctoral degrees, 144 Juris Doctorates, 295 master's degrees, and 541 bachelor degrees. Also, 2 posthumous baccalaureate degrees were awarded at the ceremony to Mr. Miles Gresham in Business Administration, Mr. Devin Butts in Behavioral and Social Sciences. New academic degree program approvals. 2 new academic programs were approved by the Board of Governors at their May meeting, which are the Bachelor of Science degree in Formulation and Packaging Sciences and the Doctor of Education degree in Counseling, Counselor Education, and Supervision. Regarding the Cheatham White Scholarship updates, said the Cheatham White Scholars had an excellent year. The juniors and seniors participated in a study abroad experience in Italy and Greece during spring break. 6 of them graduated in May of 2024. We also had 2 students selected as HBCU White House Scholars, and several received summer internships with prestigious organizations like Apple, Deloitte, and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. Undergraduate and graduate enrollment updates. Academic Affairs launched its inaugural Take 6 campaign, where they encourage students to take 6 hours over the course of the summer. Our enrollment goal was 3,218 students. and 3,381 had registered by June 17th, 2024. The report also includes fall 2024 registration figures, new freshman deposits, and our graduate student registrations as of June 16th, 2024. Action item. Academic Affairs has only one action item, that is the vote on the NCCU faculty workload policy. The policy has been approved by the Faculty Senate, the Academic Planning Council, the Executive Leadership Team, and the University Planning Council. Dr. Coleman shared, student orientation and registration SOAR began May 14th. A total of 1,846 freshmen and 178 transfer students have registered. Fall move-in begins Thursday, August 15th and ends Saturday, August 17th, based on students' residence halls and floor assignments. Eagle pinning ceremony for the class of 2028 will be held on Sunday, August 18th, 2024. Eagle Mania will take place from August 14th through the 24th. The SGA and Royal Court election results. Student body president is Emmanuel Davis. Student body vice president is Iana Poor. Miss NCCU is Carly Indaya. I hope I didn't mess that up. And Mr. NCCU is Ryan Atwater Jr. This concludes my report on academic and student affairs.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize Chairman Thornton for the report of Committee on Advancement.
Thank you, Chairman Holloway. At the Committee on Advancement and External Affairs yesterday, Vice Chancellor Susan Hester provided updates on our fiscal fundraising initiatives. Chancellor Johnson O. Akinleye's retirement celebration on April 27 raised over $200,000 for the Dr. Johnson and Juanita Akinleye Scholarship Fund. Institutional Advancement hosted the UNC System 2024 Advancement Symposium with over 400 attendees. NCCU alumni Christy Jones, class of '89, and Chief of Staff to Governor Roy Cooper, along with Trustee Emily Dickens, class of '95, served as the keynote speakers. The 2024 Orange Blossom Classic includes a welcome reception on August 30th, Battle of the Bands on August 31st, and Game Day Fan Fest on September 1st. The fiscal year 2024 fundraising goal was $15 million, and as of June 24th, the university has surpassed that goal by raising over $16.2 million. This concludes my report on advancement in external affairs.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize Chairman Slade for the report of Committee on Athletics.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yesterday, the Committee on Athletics received the following updates from our athletic director, Dr. Lewis Skip Perkins. The NCCU Athletic Department stands with an overall GPA of 3.22. Student athletes had significant community engagement. 256 athletes volunteered and contributed 12,266 hours. Student athlete leadership and development programs include Kick It with Nike, weekend engagements, and Eagle Hour, among many other things. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I guess I got to hold it. I apologize for missing the athletics committee report, but I wanted to share some good news about May as it relates to athletics. Okay. Board of Trustees and alumni, first of all, the city of Charlotte just entered an agreement with Tepper Sport to renovate the Bank of America Stadium. Because of the renovation, Tepper Sport has agreed to allow North Carolina Central to play in 2028 and 2029 in the HBCU Football Classic. So, AD, we're going to be in Charlotte 3 years in a row. All right. Secondly, because of that, we have a HBCU sports management program that I like to have some conversation about how our students can be involved in Tepper sports management program. Last but not least, House Bill 347. It's a sports betting bill that was approved, and North Carolina Central would be receiving $1.4 million. That is our allocation from that bill, and I was told that the funds will be dispersed in 90 days. So good news for us on the athletic front. Thank you.
Thank you. No further comments. Chairman Holloway, myself, I have responsibility for the endowment report. Yesterday, the Committee on Endowment approved a motion to move the action item to today's consent agenda. Action item 1, new investment strategy for exponents. This concludes my report on endowment. Okay, I'd like to recognize Chairman Chadwell for the report of the Committee on Audit.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, during the meeting on yesterday, June 25, 2024, the Committee on Audit received an update regarding the risk assessment, audit plans, and the accounts payable findings and recommendations audit. Additionally, Mrs. Lakeisha Perry Green provided an update on the fiscal year 23-24 compliance overview. The Committee on Audit approved a motion to move the action items to today's agenda as follows. 1, the internal audit charter. 2, audit committee charter. And 3, the annual action audit plan for fiscal year 25. This concludes my report.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize Ms. Lakeisha Perry Green for the compliance report.
Good morning. I'm so happy to be back in front of you all again to go over briefly how we can evaluate the compliance program that I am managing. If it will let me, next slide. So what I wanted to go over today briefly was that the wonderful thing I got to experience was going to the higher education conference that deals specifically with compliance officers. At that event, it was a big focus on the Department of Justice, OCR, our Office of Civil Rights, and the Department of Education, who were all present at that event. And what they discussed was how do we really evaluate a compliance program in higher education. So briefly today, I want to go over what we have to look at and hopefully you will use as the way to make sure I'm doing my job and ensuring compliance at NCCU. Next slide. So DOJ did not get long-winded. Last May, when they submitted the guidance, they put 3 fundamental questions. First question, is the organization's compliance program well-designed for maximum effectiveness? Number 2, is the program being applied earnestly and in good faith? Is the program adequately resourced and empowered to function effectively? Number 3, does the organization's compliance program work in practice? Now, those are 3 very basic questions that could be very broadly answered. And luckily, the Society for Compliance, Corporate Compliance and Ethics states this out very clearly for us so that we have this guidance so that when I'm wondering, am I doing a great job or what should we be focusing on next? I go back to the Compliance 101 book that they supplied us, but I also go back to this guidance because this gives us that fundamental questions of how you can make sure compliance is working. What I learned at the 43 other institutions present at this event is compliance is not looked at the same. We all have different titles, but what I learned the most was without answering these fundamental questions, the university is at risk. So briefly, I want to show you that we are doing these things and where we're going to be going next in our quest to stay in compliance. Next slide, please. Number 1, is the organizational compliance program well designed for maximum effectiveness? This is a very simple question. And how do you show this? A risk assessment. I know we talked a lot about that yesterday. So we've got risk assessments check. Policies and procedures. We're definitely doing a lot of updates. Policies have to be living. There's nothing worse than having a policy, but no one knows what it is. So we'll make sure that our policies are being enforced and accountability. Training and communication. Have to communicate a consistent message across campus. Compliance doesn't just reside with me. It's impossible. But every department has a role in what they play. I thanked HR because I asked them, show me anybody's job description that has the word compliance. I want to invite them to our committee. And so it's so important that we communicate consistently, but we also are giving the same message from the top to the bottom. Confidential reporting and structures. It's going to happen. Investigations happen, but making sure that I am showing that what is said to me in confidence is kept that way. When we have to do an investigation, it's done properly. And I want to make sure that process is well known and documented in policy. So no one will wonder if we're just doing what we want to do, but we're actually following the laws, the regulations that we're supposed to do. And of course, third-party management was a big issue and a lot of debate at the conference because conflict of interest has been something that's been talked about most recently in our state. And I was so excited that one of the members from one of our UNC system schools brought that up about third-party management and conflict of interest. And last but not least, mergers and acquisitions. This really doesn't apply a lot to what I had to do in my position, but it was brought up at the event. Next slide. So like I stated, we've done our risk assessment. Policy work group is in progress. And starting in August, like I told everyone yesterday, I'm hitting the road. I got my flat shoes ready to go from department to department to make sure they understand who I am, what my goal is, and why I am here to be a compliance manager, but also ensure that I'm not just compliance manager under the Office of Legal Affairs, but compliance officer for this university. So I'm happy to roll out training. I've literally got so many PowerPoints. I know I show Attorney Morris Shepherd because I keep a very good list of everything that I'm working on, but I'm really excited about compliance and getting my university into that role of compliance. It's not going to be quick. This is not, grits, add water and stir. It's going to take a while. I'm old school. So we got to put a pot on the stove, add some salt, add some, grits, and we got to stir. And in my case, I'm going to stir. I'm going to make sure that when I'm out and about, what you hear about me is consistent, and then we're trying to get towards compliance. Next slide. Number 2, the question about being applied earnestly and in good faith. This is a very important question. And the reason I am so stressing this is because having commitment, Chancellor, I appreciate it from day one. You gave me the commitment in this position. You applauded me to keep moving forward. Whenever I would see you in our wonderful elevator stops, you would say, how is our compliance program going? The commitment to that is so important, not just from you as a chancellor and board, but also middle management. Everyone has to buy in, because how can I say the program is being applied in good faith if I don't have middle management support? And that's why I'm applauded and thankful for this position to say it out loud. I need every department at committee meetings. You cannot miss a meeting. It's recorded, it's transcription. I'm giving you everything and I feed you. So I want you to be at my events because we have fun at this event, because compliance has to be infectious. It's not going to hurt us to be in compliance. It's going to make us shine brighter. And of course, Eagle excellence. Next slide. Once again, how do we address this? We have a compliance committee. We're going to need a charter. I am working on that, so that will be addressed and hopefully approved in September. We want to put the responsibilities of the committee in writing so they know what role they're going to play. I want to have a risk assessment that I'll do every year. The UNC system requires that for our enterprise risk management, but also a work plan. And then I'm adding in, and I didn't include it in this PowerPoint, the responsibility matrix. I loved the School of New Jersey had this wonderful presentation, and they said, yes, everybody does a compliance matrix with rules and regulations, but who does what? Who's responsible? So what they did was they did a responsibility matrix. And so all departments got, where do you fall and what do you do to ensure compliance? It was by position, because as we know, position, the people can change, but that position is needed. So that's what I want to put in place here. So the accountability is not going who. I'm not an owl, I'm an eagle. So I don't want to keep going who all the time. We need to do what we're supposed to do as eagles, and eagles soar. So we want to put those compliance controls in place and be able to say, talk to me, tell me what's going on. How can I fix it? I've been doing this so long that I have a wealth of knowledge that I want to share. And if you can't tell, I love to talk. So I want to make sure that I'm there and I'm going to provide that input. And then last but not least, board, I need you to evaluate where we're going. I can take the punches. Tell me what I need to work on. Tell me what we need to do great. Tell me what's not working so that we can devise a plan. I need you to evaluate me and be honest with me so I can do my job effectively. Next slide. Third question is, does the organization compliance program work in practice. This is something obviously you have seen. So we want to continue to do improvement. We want to continue to analyze and look at when we get audits in, and that's most important. So I'm going to make sure that we're answering this question and give you guys plenty of evidence and wonderful PowerPoints. Next slide. We can address this by being ready. You know, whenever I'm asked to speak, I said, look, I'm gonna always be ready with something, but we've got to make sure that culture of compliance is spread around this campus. It's not just your silo or this silo. I got told when I asked the question, what keeps you up at night? People said, oh, I can't tell you that. You're gonna think I'm weak. No, we have things to work on. So the culture of compliance means I'm not pointing fingers. Let's fix it and let's fix it together. Next slide. Obviously, compliance comes with some challenges. I welcome it because I don't have a boring day ever. Every day something happens that I have to go to Attorney Morris Shepherd and say, how should we move forward? Compliance manager should be a compliance officer. I say it interchangeably, but after going to these conferences, it's more consistent to be an officer than a manager. Compliance needs a dotted line to the audit committee. So we've got updates to make to our org charts. As the audit committee, I want you to exercise all of that wonderful oversight and give me feedback. Third-party management, we've got to do things to ensure conflict of interest is reduced, if not eliminated. And then compliance has to be aware of what's going on campus. If there's an audit or audit exit conference, I should be at that table. So it's important that we look at compliance, you evaluate me as compliance, and that we ensure that this is such a contagious and infectious process that everybody wants to go to my meeting where I don't have enough chairs. Next slide. There are things on the horizon. I'm sure you'll hear about that in coming months. Title IX regulations, pregnancy and parenting under Title IX, pay equity. There's so much borrowed defense claims. There's so much coming up. I will not have a day where I am bored because there's so much coming down the pipe that I will keep you entertained about what we're doing to ensure compliance. And I want your support, but I also want your feedback on what we can do better because I'm ready. I want my university to soar and represent the best HBCU that we have, not just in this state, but across all United States. Next slide. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Perry Green, we really appreciate your enthusiasm and also commitment with compliance, because that's something that continually moves. And as that moves, we need to adjust appropriately. So we appreciate and look forward to you and your accomplishments in this role. I'd like to recognize Chairman Martinez for the report of Committee on Finance and Facilities.
Well, that was a tough act to follow, but I'll try. At yesterday's Committee on Finance and Facilities meeting, Vice Chancellor Akua Matherson provided updates on the third quarter budget, capital projects, police and public safety, and campus enterprises. The Finance Division is currently focused on the year-end closeout and new year budgeting. This concludes my report on Finance and Facilities.
Thank you very much. I'd like to recognize Chancellor Akinleye for his presentation.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, esteemed colleagues, staff, faculty, and all of us present, good morning. It is my pleasure to come before you the last time, not suddenly the last time in life, but the last time as Chancellor of North Carolina Central University.
Wow.
But before I conclude my journey and of course my work, I want to extend again, as I have done several times, my sincere appreciation to this entire board. Your dedication and support have been the cornerstone of North Carolina Central University's journey to new heights into excellence. We couldn't have done all of the things that now make NCCU the great institution without all of you. Many of you have been on this board now for 8 years, some slightly under 8 years. You have done tremendous work in reviewing contracts when it comes to housing, construction, partnership. You spend time and time to be sure that we are doing things right. And so because of you, we have witnessed remarkable achievements across every facet of this great institution. From significant increases in sponsored research funding and successful fundraising campaigns in advancement to the continuous growth in student enrollment and improvements in campus housing. Our collective efforts have made a profound impact. Moreover, our campus is safer than ever, and our name rings out across the state and the country for all of the good news we've delivered. You saw all of the facts yesterday. Therefore, when we say everything is up at NCCU, this is not a cliche. It is a testament to our commitment and the tangible results we have achieved together. You see the evidence in the metrics that were presented to you yesterday in committee meetings, in academic affairs, growth in enrollment, in student affairs, the long list of students waiting for housing. And of course, in advancement, 2 years in a row, having exceeded our benchmark and our goal. Our endowment as an institution is soaring. We are now nearly $90 million. Compare that to any HBCU across the country, and you will see that NCCU is doing well. In athletics, you saw that we're not only winning, our student athletes are excelling in the classroom. The GPAs were presented to you yesterday, so this is the matter of fact, and it's not a cliche. And so I want to say to you, as this university transitions into a new chapter in its history, I urge each of you to continue keeping NCCU at the forefront of your minds as board members. The challenges ahead demand your vigilant attention to ensure sustained growth and progress. I have no doubt that you will continue to uphold the responsibilities and foster the grit, innovation, leadership, purpose, and legacy that define NCCU. Thank you for your leadership, your wisdom, and commitment to NCCU. With Chancellor-elect Dixon at the helm, and with your continuous guidance and support, I am confident that North Carolina Central University will continue to set new benchmarks of excellence in higher education and soar to even greater heights. I want to take a moment to just express again gratitude, a profound sense of gratitude to my staff, my executive staff, and to faculty and staff across the campus for your dedication and passion to this institution. Thank you for your service to our great institution. And I urge you to continue to support this great institution. Serving as Chancellor has been a privilege beyond measure. I have cherished every moment, and I'm deeply grateful for the opportunity to work alongside such dedicated and inspiring individuals like you. I wish each of you happiness and continued success. Know that I would always be cheering our Eagles on the sideline. For one final time, Eagle pride amplified. Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my brief report you have any questions, I'm happy to take it. If not, I'll take my seat. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I don't think any words can describe how much we appreciate you and the work you've done here at this university. You have a legacy and we'll never forget that. So thank you. In yesterday's presentation from academics, I failed to give a thank you to Dr. Jackson because his comment, I don't know if it got by everyone, is that we had a PhD program approved and 2 out of the 6 that were down at the office. That PhD program allows us to move closer to a tier 2 university, which creates greater funding and moves us closer to our basic plan we had in place. That's significant. So again, thank you, Dr. Jackson. I'd like to recognize Vice Chairman Allison to go into closed session.
Seek a motion to go into closed session to deal with an issue regarding personnel.
So moved. Second.
We'll allow everyone to clear the room. Thank you.